Hey, this is Walter Jones.
This is Austin St. John.
And you're listening to Ranger Danger.
Go, go, Ranger Danger. Ooh. Go, go, Ranger Danger. Ooh. Go, go, Ranger Danger. Matt and Michael's Ranger Danger.
Welcome once again to Mighty Morphin Ranger Danger. This is the podcast where we watch episodes of the TV series Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Then after that, we have a bit of a chat about it. My name is Matt.
Hi guys, Michael.
Michael's back as he ever is. And we have a new guest.
A new guest.
Thank you for that emphasis, Michael. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Oh, it's going to get uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
Tom, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, how you going?
Good. How are you?
I am good.
I think you're the first guest we've had on the show. Actually, no, I was about to tell a lie. I was about to say you're the first guest we've had on the show who is the host of another podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
But you're not actually.
You're the second.
So, sorry to steal your thunder
Oh,
there.
damn.
We had someone from Super Sentai Brothers.
Yes.
Which is a podcast that does exactly what we do, but for Super Sentai, which is the show that Power Rangers is adapted from.
We also had Billy, who does the Geek of Oz podcast.
Wow, right. So you're third, actually, Tom.
Sorry, Tom.
Oh.
You're not even the first Tom to be on the podcast.
What can I be first of then? Why am I here?
You're
What
the
am I
first podcast host that has a beard.
You're the first podcast host that works with one of us.
That's true. That's right. I should say that the podcast that you host, Tom, is by the people, the official podcast of my place of employment for the people.
We'll put a link in the show notes if you want to have a listen.
Definitely. Because I'm sure there'll be a lot of crossover in audience between people who are interested in Power Rangers and people who want to find out about creative agencies and how they operate. Actually, probably a bigger crossover than...
I mean, there's 100% crossover in the hosts of
That's
this
true.
podcast.
Yeah.
So it's
No.
got to be a couple.
Good
Okay.
point.
New listener questions?
Yes, the hallowed new listener questions.
Hit me. I'm ready.
All right, the first one. What was your first experience with Power Rangers? Can you remember?
My first experience. Oh man, very first. I can't.
It doesn't have to be too specific.
Yeah, no.
Just like,
I must
like
have
rough
been.
age.
I must have been about 5 going on 6. Because I remember in kindergarten I was absolutely obsessed.
Okay.
Like I actually have photos, and I think I've shown you Matt one or two of these. But there is me at my 6th birthday party. It was meant to be a Power Ranger themed birthday party. Me in the blue Power Ranger suit.
Yep, that's amazing.
Yep.
So what we're looking at, listeners, is a photo of Tom in a blue Power Rangers in Space costume.
Yep.
So what that means is you're going to see today, Tom, some episodes of Power Rangers quite a while before what you would have experienced as a kid.
Yeah.
So I think there'll be sort of loose nostalgia, but not the specific nostalgia that you might get from watching something that you would have recognised from when you were a kid.
We'll happily have you back on in 7 years when we get up to Power Rangers.
It's not 7 years, it's like 3, 4?
3 or 4, yeah.
4 years.
That's one thing that always baffles me, that there's actually so much
It
of
never
this.
stops. People don't understand, like, oh, yeah, I remember that show from back when it was on. It's like, no, it didn't go away.
Yeah.
The weekend after we record this, it's about to air its 800th episode.
800.
800th.
Yeah. And for some reason we thought it'd be a good idea to do
Watch
this show. Yeah.
We're up to 107.
Yeah, we're actually like 1/8 of the way through, which is a surprising chunk.
Yeah.
For that many.
You should
episodes.
mention, I don't know if you did, this is episode 107.
Yeah.
Best man for the job.
That's right. I think Tom is the best man for the job of reviewing this episode with us.
I hope so. I'll do my best.
Second listener question. Or second guest
Oh,
host
that's right.
question.
There's two.
Yes.
I had one job. The second question is, what was your last experience of Power Rangers? Do you remember when you stopped watching it?
I think it was around the time that I think I was told off at school for what would my teacher have said? I must have been in like year 2 or year 1 or year 2 or something like that, and was told, please stop acting like a Power Ranger, Tom. It's annoying all of us. And it devastated me.
Oh, I'm devastated for you.
Yeah.
I think that came after a long period of patience, where because as a
sure.
kid I was extremely outgoing, and things I got excited about and obsessed with, may have driven me to be a little bit manic.
When you are acting like a Power Ranger,
Yeah.
does that involve like punching other kids? Or punching your grandmother?
Great grandmother, Michael.
like Power Rangers itself, I don't think it involved much literal violence. I think it was just a whole lot of me running around pretending that I was, I don't know, doing some kind of heroic feat.
Well, Tom, I'd like to thank you for your bravery in returning to Power Rangers
After
despite...
it hurt you so.
I know, how am I going to feel?
I don't know.
This nostalgia is about to wash over me in ways that I can't predict.
If you need to take a break, we'll pause. You can go take a breather, steel yourself and come back. Alright, so we might actually go watch the episode.
Before we do that, Matt,
Yeah.
where can people find us?
On our internet website, Michael, that's www.rangerdangerpodcast.com.
Yep.
If you want to send us an interweb email that we may read out on the show, probably will, rangerdangerpodcast@gmail.com.
Yep.
If sending us Twitter tweets is what you fancy, we're at RangerDcast on Twitter. We're also on Facebook, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, and Google+. Plus, we have a shop. That's rangerdangerpodcast.com/shop, where you can buy mugs and shirts, not shower curtains yet, maybe one day, and other cool stuff. What do we sell in our shop, Michael?
I feel like they just introduced pillows.
Hey, pillows!
Well, maybe
Look at
they
that.
always had pillows. I don't know if I've put a pillow up yet. There might be pillows.
Great. I'm sure you want Power Rangers on a pillow.
I want a Ranger Danger throw.
Done. We'll make it happen.
Excellent. Good.
All right.
Right.
On that note, we're going to watch Best Man for the Job, and we will return to you in just a moment. And we're back. Tom, initial impressions. Hit me. Stream of consciousness. How are you feeling?
You were right, I wasn't ready.
Nobody ever
No one
is.
No one ever is. No, I can understand why. Because, I think the gap between watching obviously starts to show the moment that the credits run and you think, oh my god, what am I doing?
Yeah, nostalgia is a powerful thing. It can make things in your memory seem a lot grander and more well executed than it is in reality. And I don't think that gap is ever truly brought to life more than when you watch Power Rangers as an adult.
Yeah.
Because I think it's probably at the bottom, outside of maybe like Super Friends
Yeah.
and the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Nothing is quite executed as poorly as Power Rangers sometimes.
Oh boy. Alright, will we take this one from the top?
Let's do it.
Okay.
So where do we start, Michael?
The student elections are coming up.
Yes, student president?
Yes.
Yes.
School president, I think.
School president.
Were either of you ever in student politics?
I was in my SRC very briefly in primary school
Right.
until I realised that being in the SRC gave you no power. And it was like just to make you feel good. And I was like, I'm not going to be involved in this farce.
I had the exact same experience. I was
Oh,
a
yeah?
quote-unquote prefect of like school culture stuff, which I think meant music and art and all that sort of stuff. Did I do anything? No. Did I stand around with other people making speeches? Occasionally. But did I do anything? No.
It's such a strange concept. Because you know that they're not ever going to give students any sort of real power.
No, because, I mean, speaking as, a young adult, that would be a terrible idea.
Especially in primary school.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
No matter what level of development you're at in primary school, you should not be making legislative decisions.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that
You
sentence.
should not have a veto stamp or anything like that,
Yeah.
You should go back to your peanut butter sandwich.
But you know what it is, though? They're the puppets. They're the ones who get the blame for when...
Oh, they're the
things
fall
go
guys.
wrong.
Yeah.
You could see them as scapegoats or something like that.
Yeah.
And yet, suddenly there's so much responsibility about having, I don't know, a policy that I don't think we ever hear mentioned, though, or something like that.
I'm sure that, when there's, a toxic radiation spill, they march out little Timmy, and they're like, little Timmy, how did you let this happen? On your watch!
Little Timmy just cries and runs
Yeah.
away. Because he's 8 and he doesn't know it.
And then the principal could be like, we're going to take firm action based on this. Timmy, out of a job. I promise tomorrow he will no longer be student
We'll have
president.
a new student president
Yeah.
who maybe he can deal with nuclear waste.
Yeah.
Oh, that feels very timely, given our Australian political
Right? It's almost
roundabout.
like an allegory of some sort.
So Billy pitches to Tommy that Tommy might want to be school president.
Yes.
For no real reason other than Billy wants to be his campaign manager.
Which is bizarre, because Billy has demonstrably terrible people skills. That is the job of someone with a lot of emotional intelligence. Billy can make a beetle that can travel at the speed of light and fly. That's a VW beetle, not an actual beetle. But he should not be running a political campaign.
Maybe he wants to give it a try.
I'm surprised, though, that Tommy doesn't want to be president straight away.
Man, it's a
because-
lot of responsibility.
That's true. It
Allegedly.
is work. Responsibility in air quotes.
What's his level of humbleness around him? Because obviously you guys are a little bit more familiar with the characters than I am.
I think it's more the actor that plays Tommy. Very much enjoyed being the most popular amongst the kids.
Which is weird because obviously he's like at least 30-something.
I think he's actually like early 20s, but yeah.
Ooh,
not old
sorry,
enough for it to
mate.
be okay.
None of them are like 17 playing 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
They're all like 22.
But there's stories of him behind the scenes, like there's fight scenes that were scripted for other characters, and him going, "Oh no, that's a really cool fight scene. I should do it because I'm the kid's favorite," you know. So there's a big ego in the guy. So I'm surprised. Yeah, the character's reaction wasn't like, "Yes, of course I should be president. You're right, Billy."
So Tommy says to Kimberly, you know, what would you think about me being president? And she's like, yeah, you'd be a great president. Matt, I've not seen it. Is this how House of Cards starts?
Basically,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
I was about to make a House of Cards joke, but I don't want to spoil it for you.
Okay.
So
Don't.
yeah.
So they brainstorm the campaign slogan, Tommy Oliver, best man for the job. Which doesn't really tell you anything about anything.
But political slogans often don't.
That's
like,
true.
Kevin 07 was like an Australian political slogan.
We elected a prime minister based on the fact that his name rhymed with the year the election was happening.
Yeah. So, like, we can sit here and make fun of Power Rangers all we want, but we're that stupid.
There was a weird level of political commentary in this episode.
Right? I think that this was probably one of the more, like, cannily written episodes in recent memory. And it's kind of uncomfortable how much it makes you reflect on the fact that our process isn't that much different from that process.
Which is terrifying.
Like, give or take a few space witches. It's
Are you
basically the
suggesting
same.
that Malcolm Turnbull is a Power Ranger?
I was more thinking, like, we'll get to this a bit later when Tommy resigns from the campaign, but he basically Manchurian candidates yet.
Yes.
Which is, like, a lot of people in the States are saying that
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, thank you, has been put into the race by the Democrats to make the Republicans look bad so the Democrats will win.
Yep.
And he's like a patsy. And this basically, like, validates that theory that you can have two people in a race and then have one of them drop out and it's like the race is over immediately.
Yeah. I mean, it's a three-man race, but one of those men, we'll learn in the next scene, is going to be Bulk, who no sensible person would ever elect to any position of anything.
He's totally Donald Trump.
Yeah, I guess...
Does that make Kimberly Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So it's not a perfect...
No, it is some work. Which is probably because this was written 20 years ago, not last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bulk's pitch
Yes.
is that if he was the president, he could get access to the student records.
Yes.
And if he had access to the student records, he could find out who the Power Rangers are.
Well, you know, when you're enrolling at a school, there's, like, the form that you fill out.
Yeah.
It's
Are
like,
you of Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander descent?
Yes.
Do you have any kind of learning disability?
Yeah.
Are you a genetically superpowered teenage human who transforms into a superhero and has a giant robot?
Yeah. At any point, did a space wizard give you a magical coin that turns you into a superhero?
At
Yes
age
or no?
5, I would have said yes.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? You can't rely on these forms of accurate data.
Alright, so Aisha,
Yeah.
and she's basically like, fuck Tommy. Right? He's like, yeah, Tommy's great, we all love Tommy, but Tommy,
He's kind of a bit thick.
yeah,
Probably shouldn't have responsibility.
what if the best man for the job is a woman?
What?
Right? Kimberly, you should run. And Kimberly's like, well, Tommy's running and I'm ostensibly dating him, although we very rarely talk about
We
that.
kissed once 60 episodes ago.
Wait, so they are or they aren't?
They kissed once 60 episodes ago.
And like last week or the week before, they were talking about maybe going out on something that might have been a date. It's very unclear.
So they've just awkwardly non-flirted/flirted for a great deal of time.
There was a stretch after they kissed where I don't know that they spoke to each other for 30 episodes.
That can
So
happen.
it's kind of like real school.
Right, so, because Aisha even describes Kimberly and Tommy as good friends.
Yeah.
Like, if they were dating...
Boyfriend and girlfriend is the term you'd use. Yeah.
Right, so Kim says to Tommy, like, do you mind if I give it a go? And Tommy says, sure, at least one of us will win.
Yeah, once again setting up the idea that they're just gaming democracy here.
There's only allowed to be 3 candidates. So if they take 2 of them and one of them is Bulk...
It's sewn up.
Yeah.
Power Rangers win the election and can rule the world.
I mean, they could rule the world already. They've got a giant robot.
That's true. Good
And
point.
yet,
Yeah.
there's so much potential.
You can rule the world with an iron fist, but it's better to take it over one school council at a time. That's what I've always said.
In this situation, it's a really big literal iron fist.
So, on the moon,
Yes.
Lord Zed says nothing can spoil a relationship faster than politics.
Zinger.
It's one of those things where it's like, I guess that's true, but it's not like the most frequent cause of relationships deteriorating is politics.
I'm pretty sure it is, Matt.
Well, I guess if Power Rangers says so.
Yep, that's right. So, Rita's like, yeah, let's come up with a plan. And Lord Zed's like, no, you're not good at plans. You can't be a bad guy. You're not a guy. And Rita, quite fairly, goes, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know, like, she did fail for 60 episodes to kill the Power Rangers, but we're nearly at the point where Lord Zed has failed for 60 episodes to kill the Power Rangers. They're pretty close to evenly terrible at this point.
Absolutely. And I like the fact that, like, it's okay that Lord Zed is a bit sexist because he's evil.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, of course he's sexist. He's evil. Sexist people are evil.
So, Matt, what does Rita summon?
An evil skipping rope.
Yeah.
Like, there's no more, like, it seems like I'm oversimplifying.
No, it's an evil skipping
It's an
rope.
evil skipping
Was
rope.
it even a skipping rope? Surely, I think it looked like a piece of rope.
I think they just said rope to me. Like, it was coloured in a way that suggested skipping rope, because it was very clearly, like, pink. And it's not like that's a utility colour. So it must be a skipping rope of leisure. So skipping rope.
And Matt, how does the skipping rope of evil work?
Well, you put it across someone's path.
Yep.
And they trip over it.
Yep.
And then they hate the other person who also tripped over.
So if... Oh dear. There's so many potential, like, one person trips, the other person doesn't.
Yeah, what would happen? Would they just hate pavement for the rest of their life?
I mean, who doesn't?
Me? I have delicate feet. I can't walk on dirt and rocks.
Okay, that's something that I'm learning new in episode 107.
I did, like, this is one of those things where I weirdly know a lot about how we relate, is you have a lot sturdier feet than I do.
I do.
You go out barefoot a lot.
I like to go barefoot.
Whereas I have tender rider's feet.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Okay. The one thing that we skipped past when mentioning how the evil rope works is that Goldar is the biggest, I don't know, snitch?
Snitch is what I had down in
Snitch
my
is the
notes.
word. Because he, like, says to Rita, does Lord Zed know about this? And she's like, fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah.
And then he instantly goes to Lord Zed and says, Rita's got an evil plan.
All that's missing from that scene is when Rita says, oh, he doesn't know and that doesn't matter. Him going, but we'll get in trouble.
So back at school, Tommy is amending one of Kimberly's campaign posters.
I would like to think he's adding to it. But
Vandalising.
Sure. Vandalising is good.
He's drawn on some glasses and a beard and a moustache.
And a top hat, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well,
which
you know.
isn't insulting.
No, Matt, that's pretty insulting.
Is
No,
it?
only dickheads wear top hats.
Oh, that is true, thinking about it now.
Right.
Now, I mean, it's not like, you know, Abraham Lincoln was a dickhead.
No. But yeah, in 1994,
Yeah.
certainly, yes.
Alright, good point.
So Tommy comes past. They have a bit of verbal argument. Tommy puts
Verbal
up...
argument?
Yes.
What other sort of arguments do you have?
Physical argument.
Alright, should stay away from you when you're angry.
That's right. Tommy puts up one of his own posters.
Yeah.
How does Kimberly then deface that poster?
She changes some of the letters, so it says vote for dummy, I believe. Which, like, Aisha immediately says, oh, that's so mean. It's really not. Like, that's pretty tame.
Yeah, so the poster originally says vote for Tommy.
Yeah.
And Kimberly has prepared some little stickers so she can make it say, don't vote for dummy.
Oh, it's a vicious campaign.
It really
on
is.
both
It's
sides.
Just, yeah, attack ads on either side, you know. It's just...
She probably had to go to Kinko's to prepare those, like, special letters that would line up with his... kids these days.
This campaign is progressing incredibly quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yesterday they found out student elections were on. Today they're already putting up posters. And literally in the afternoon, they're going to have voted and find out who wins.
I feel like there's probably not a lot of material that needs to be covered. Like, the voters don't need to consider a lot, you know? Later in the episode, I think it's Tommy says, "Oh, Kimberly really considered all of the tough issues." Like, what tough issues? Like, what?
Not once are those tough issues
mentioned. Yeah. So, like, well, we're running out of juice, so I'm really glad Kimberly's here to take care of that juice situation.
You know, it's important to elect a leader who can take care of the juice.
that should be the slogan.
That was the problem
I've got
with
the
Nazi
juice.
Germany as well.
Yeah, if you don't have juice, things get out of control.
Alright, so Rita creates an evil note.
Yes.
And she puts it on a plinth that we've never seen before and taps it with her staff, and it magically appears on Tommy's locker.
I have a question.
Why doesn't she just do that with a bomb?
Yes.
Yep.
End of question.
Yeah, I mean...
And it's also like, the point of that evil note, which must have required some sort of work, is to get Tommy to go to the park.
Yep.
They're always at the park.
Yep.
You could just wait 5 minutes and they'll end up at the park.
No, they have to get into the park alone.
Again, not that rare.
It is a weirdly lowbrow attempt at highbrow psychological warfare.
It's going to just...
Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send him a note.
And it's also like, first half of the plan is turn them against each other. Second half of the plan is punch them a lot. You could probably just skip to the second part.
Most parts of Power Rangers plans are punch them a lot, to be fair.
That is true.
So Tommy reads the note, and the note says, basically, I've got information that will help you destroy Kimberly.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess they're evil magic fighting, but that's pretty strong.
I also don't know who he thinks this note is coming from. Like, does he think that Deep Throat has been, like, investigating the campaign and has some dirt? What?
They know Kimberly pretty well.
Yeah.
Who could possibly know a secret about her that they don't?
Well, whoever sent the note, obviously. Otherwise, why else would you go to the park?
That's fair. So he does go.
Yeah.
Who's there to meet him?
That's Gola. But we did skip the bit where Tommy says to Billy that he's going to win the campaign. W-I-N, win. Is that something that mean people do? Do they spell things out a lot?
I mean, I guess, maybe.
I don't understand why...
They become more emphatic because they're charged by angry energy.
Angry energy, that's it.
Yeah.
And evil jump ropes.
Yeah, maybe it's the jump rope. It's got weird side effects. Like, they also accidentally spell stuff out a lot.
It's important to spell. You know, Billy might not have known what he was saying.
Yeah, it's not like Billy's a genius scientist.
Do you want to Lin? Is that a thing?
Oh dear.
Right, so Tommy morphs
Yeah.
for what might be the first time ever
Without saying it's morphing time.
saying it's morphing time.
Yeah, leader of the Power Rangers, you have one job.
Hmm.
You just have to say that thing before you morph.
He also does something that I don't think we've seen, which is like a different hand action, which from memory will get used again in Forever Red as like Jason's morphing hand action.
There you go. That's weirdly specific knowledge even for us.
I think it becomes like the standard solo Mighty Morphin morph.
Alright. Man, it's okay.
Yeah.
You're off the hook.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, I am. Oh, Michael knows too many things about Power Rangers, he said on their Power Rangers. Yeah. Judge all you want, man.
Look, I need any high ground I can get on this subject.
So Tommy starts to fight Goldar.
Yeah.
Goldar has quite sensibly brought down a lot of putties this time.
Yes. He knows from experience that Tommy can cut through those guys like butter. So.
Last week they tried 3.
Yeah.
That definitely didn't work. This time he's got more like a dozen.
Yeah. A sensible number for this job.
Yeah. So Tommy fights Goldar for a bit. Back at school, everyone kind of goes, Kimberly, what the fuck is going on? Quite fairly, I think.
Yeah, see, the problem with this episode is that it takes them a long time to figure out what's going on, which would be less weird if they hadn't already encountered, like, 3 different spells that make them evil and nasty to each other.
Oh, they happen all the time.
Like every couple of weeks. You know,
Tommy
it's a
was
problem.
literally evil cloned, like, what must be days ago in universe.
Yeah. But they've also had the shark.
Yep,
with
Slippery Shark.
Slippery Shark, who would throw one of his fins and you would catch it instinctively, and catching it would make you jealous of other people.
Yep.
That's what the shark did. So that, like, they have this problem a lot.
And there was a spell that turned people into punks.
That's true. That was a bad one.
Those dangerous punks.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently they're quite vicious.
Yeah.
And very well dressed.
Lots of spells that make you evil on this show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you think that they'd start with, oh, Kimberly's acting weird, probably a spell.
Yeah, I think like it would be to the point where you do that even when it's not. It's like I would come in and be like not have a lot of sleep and be grumpy.
Yep.
And you'd be like, Matt, are you okay? Is it a spell?
No, I've just tripped over another bloody tightrope.
Yeah, that's right.
Was it an evil magical rope?
Either way, it's going to put me in a bad mood, so it doesn't matter.
So Kimberly says she doesn't think there's anything wrong with wanting to win at all costs. At which point, still no one goes, maybe that's a magic spell.
That sounds suspicious. Yeah.
So Zordon gets in touch.
Yep.
Lets them know that Tommy needs their help. Kimberly says, figures. I mean, that's kind of fair, but also he does a lot on his own.
Yeah. Like, it's not like he isn't accomplished in fighting by himself.
Yep.
So, it's a weird beat, that one.
So they come down and start to try and rescue Tommy. Rocky, in proving how useless he is, gets so distracted helping Tommy that a putty just punches him from behind.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. Tommy and Kimberly start to fight. This is pretty good.
They don't just fight, they bicker like an
Yeah.
old married couple.
In the middle of the fight.
Maybe it's the most relationshipy they've been this whole time.
Definitely.
When they're fighting.
The closest I've ever been to dating is when they're pointing accusing fingers at each other.
Yeah. There's a nice bit where Kimberly just kind of steps back to let a putty just fall down and then walks over it and chases after. They end up immediately in front of Goldar, completely ignoring him.
And not just like unaware of his presence, but too caught up in the argument to even give him the time of day. And he gets hilariously frustrated. Like,
Yeah.
it's actually a pretty decent comedy beat.
Like, he's even a little bit, like, incredulous. He's sort of just,
Yeah.
this isn't how this usually works. I'm used to this happening a particular
Yeah.
way.
And like, it's not even like he's unaware of what's going on. He was responsible, like he was in the room when all of this was organised, and he still can't believe how far it's gone.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
So eventually he just gets fed up, punches Kimberly, and steals Saba.
Yeah, punches Kimberly in the face, which is pretty brutal for this show, at least. And yeah, then steals Tommy's talking sword.
Yep.
So what was your feeling, Tom, when you noticed that the sword was talking and apparently has a personality?
I didn't think it would go to that level, but yes, it did. And I did think for a second, oh, this is a thing that's happening. Yep,
Yeah.
good. But, you know, it only takes a couple of seconds to be like, oh, yes, I remember what I'm watching now.
You kind of roll with it, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a talking sword is going to be the weirdest thing about the show.
Yeah,
You sort of just have to submit at some point and just be like, I just need to go with this.
I think after the evil skipping rope, it's kind of, you know, you'll let anything go by. Yeah,
Lower my expectations.
absolutely.
Or raise my expectations, maybe.
Definitely shift them in a
I
direction.
think maybe widen.
Sideways.
Yeah.
So Goldar just starts walking away.
Yeah.
He doesn't teleport away instantly. He's just like,
Because he's mocking them.
all right, I'll just take this over there then.
Yeah.
Kimberly and Tommy run after him. They run into each other.
Like, so hard that sparks fly.
Yep.
I never hit someone that hard while running into them.
No,
Probably
but
for the
you've
best.
missed Power Ranger, Matt.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So Goldar now has figured out how to use Saba.
Yeah, apparently it just pointed at things.
Saba shoots the lasers from his eyes, explodes all the Power Rangers.
While making sad noises, which introduces these weird questions of will. So I guess, like, he doesn't want it to happen but has to do it. It's kind of like Saba's, like, Thor's Mjolnir, you know? Like, kind of has a personality, but also is completely subservient to his whole
Oh, it totally opens up questions about sentient weapons.
Yeah.
Right?
Because we know that Saba can, like, fly around and act on its own.
Yeah.
So, is it weird that he gets sent to a pocket dimension all the time until Tommy transforms?
Yeah.
Like,
Like, he presumably doesn't get a lot of positive social interaction in those moments either.
yeah.
It's sort of like he's brought into existence momentarily to be used as a tool and then sent away again.
What an incredible trauma, not only to be used by Tommy, but then to be used by,
Goldar as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No wonder he screamed.
We haven't even got to the point where Rita gags him for no reason.
My life is hell!
Yeah. It's not like talking can solve any problems. It's not like he could be like, I want to return to Tommy, and that would solve the problem. He just gags because it makes him feel worse, I guess. And she's into emotionally torturing swords.
She's evil, Matt.
Yeah.
Who isn't into emotional torturing of swords?
I would say me, but let's not get into it. I don't want to know about...
You've never done it the right way then.
Oh, gross.
That thing where Saba shoots lasers out of its eyes,
Yeah.
that looks pretty strong.
Yeah.
That seems like the sort of thing that Tommy could do occasionally.
Maybe. That's a good idea. We should tell him.
Yeah.
Send him one of those magic notes.
Yeah, attach it to his
If I
body.
had a magic staff, I would do that. So they go back to the command center,
Yeah.
defeated and a little embarrassed.
Yeah, because Gola actually has just taken Saba.
Yeah.
And fucked off.
Yep. Someone says, "Is it possible they're under a spell?" And Alpha's like,
So I just want to clap that person. Thank you.
Alpha says, "All right, I'll get the spell detector." He goes, beep, beep, boop, and Zordon instantly goes, "Yeah, it's a spell."
I want to know what medical checks, what scientific medical checks that device is running, that it can immediately identify that there was an evil skipping rope involved.
We are living in a reality with swords that have personalities. So.
Like, I understand that in theory, like that I should just have a wider suspension of disbelief, but it's such a specific thing. Like,
Yeah.
if they can do that fast, can't they just have like that constantly running in the command center?
Yeah, the scope of things that they could solve much quicker.
Yeah.
If
The equivalent of like a metal detector on the door in that just goes, "Is this person under a spell?"
Like, even if it's like just specific to evil skipping ropes, if they could do that, they should always do that. You know?
Well, it's okay, Matt, because they will never ever try to reuse the evil skipping rope now that it's been foiled.
There's 800 episodes, Michael. I wouldn't rule it out.
There is only one solution to this magic spell.
Yeah.
This is the worst solution to a magic spell we've seen on this show.
We've had some bad ones.
We've had some bad ones. Tom, do you want to tell us what it is?
So, roses, being the symbol of love and affection, are brought out, and Tommy and Kimberly are told to smell the roses, and that will cure the spell.
They're not special roses.
They're not special roses. In fact, they look fairly plastic to me. But lo and behold, the spell was
broken.
It's the thought that counts. It doesn't matter that they're plastic, Tom. Stop being so materialistic, alright?
Sorry.
They're symbols.
I mean, I have so many... Like, if you use it on another planet where they don't have roses, would they have to smell roses? Or is it that local culture's symbol of affection?
They have all this technology to detect spells.
Yes.
And yet they must resort to... What kind of roses are we even talking about here? Are they magic roses? Are they normal roses? Are they special Power Ranger roses?
There's lots of questions that we will never get answered.
Well, Zordon keeps some in his, like...
It doesn't look like he teleports them in at all.
No,
It looks
that's
like
what
they're
I'm
just sitting on the counter.
He has a greenhouse out back that's filled with plants.
I mean, we have seen Alpha use the morphing grid to grow plants.
Yeah.
So, maybe he's got a green robot thumb.
Yeah. I mean, next time if it's just like a conflict thing, he'll just bring out some magical marijuana and be like, just have some of that, chill out, and you'll be fine. It might not even be magical. It might just be
You guys just need to chill out for a little while.
Yeah.
So they get, like, floating head love hearts that fade away.
Yeah, and that again reinforces this idea that they're magical roses. They're not... Either they're not magical, or all roses are magical.
It's so unlike this show to not call them, like, special roses.
Yeah.
To come up with a bullshit name.
Yeah. The roses of love, sourced from Aquitar.
Yeah, there you go. Job done. So, Rita's appeared in the park. She's got Saba.
Yeah.
She can now control the Tiger Zord.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah. Saba has a muzzle
Yeah.
on him.
He's gagged, as I said.
It's like a strap of leather wrapped around his mouth. It makes no sense. Before they go, Billy suggests that Saba is made of metal, so maybe Alpha could build some sort of electromagnet.
Or an electromagnet. It doesn't need to be specific.
I mean, this episode has a lot of really terrible problem solutions.
Yeah. I think the magnet gun might be my favourite / least favourite all at once.
Well, the problem... 10 feet.
Yeah.
That's its range, right?
Yeah.
That's what they
10
said the range-
yards.
10 yards,
Which
sorry.
is about 10 metres. So,
If you're going to build a super magnet, I want more than 10 yards, thanks.
I'd like to
want
think
Hadron
that,
Collider levels.
I'd like to think that if he had like 6 hours, he could have summoned the moon with gravity, right? Yeah. But because he has 3 minutes, he's like, look, I put a battery on a nail. He's what you get.
Well, what it is like a novelty-size horseshoe magnet with a trigger on it. I'm pretty sure what actually happened was he just got a horseshoe magnet and then, like, added a trigger to it for effect and gave it to Tom. He's like, look, I built this.
Are you telling me that he just found a big magnet?
Absolutely. Because that's exactly like, it doesn't look like anything special. You just found a magnet and then, like, fancied it up a bit so no one sort of said that he was lazy.
Matt, so Rita summons the Tiger Zord.
Yeah.
I hadn't considered, Matt, that one of the advantages of them replacing the actress of Rita is that it's now really easy for her to interact with everybody in the show.
Yeah.
So she's just in the park.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah. I hope we do a bit more of that before she goes away.
So previously, Tom, Rita only appeared in
The moon.
The footage they took from the Japanese show.
Right.
So she could never interact directly with the actual cast because it was a Japanese actress who was not involved in the show in any way. So to solve that problem, largely because they ran out of footage, was they had Rita basically get a facial that was so good.
A magic facial.
A magic facial that was so good it changed her face and made her look like a different actress.
Oh, that's very convenient for future seasons, isn't it?
So good.
It really is. Matt, did you notice that this Megazord fight that we see looks a bit different?
Oh, it was different in that we actually got to see some interactions between the two fighting parties.
This was a US filmed Megazord fight.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't had one of those before.
We have never had one of these before.
Wow.
Which is why it's like plot appropriate and the thing that is happening in the story happens in the fight.
Is there a very distinct difference between the Japanese film ones and the American film ones, or do they try and keep it consistent?
I mean, I think the thing that I noticed is the sets in particular that they're on look different.
A bit shoddier.
Yeah.
The Japanese sets are usually really great at making, like, they're good with miniatures, whereas the buildings here were basically just big blocks. You know, they were just had some lines on them, whereas the Japanese sets look like they're functioning buildings. They have details that these didn't have.
Oh, come on, America.
Yeah, I mean,
Put in the work.
that's kind of the theme of this podcast is, great job, Japanese people. America, lift your fucking game.
Yep. So, there's a sword fight, then, between two giant robots, although they do call the Thunder Saber the Power Sword, because the Power Sword is what they call, like, 7 different swords on this show.
Because no one in the show does research, even about their own show.
No one writes things down.
That's a level of work that is not...
It's just that sword has a name. And it's just, when you are writing that episode, surely you say, hey, what's the name of that sword? And someone goes, that's the Thunder Saber. Or surely someone reading the script at some point goes, that's not the name of that sword.
No.
No
You
one
expect too
cares.
much.
I expect one person at any point in the production to care.
No.
When do we get up to episodes where people start to care?
About 3 years?
Oh, good. Great.
About the time, actually, when Tom was watching the show as a kid.
Hey, there you go.
Look at that.
So, Tommy teleports in,
Yeah.
uses a magical electromagnet, pulls Saba towards him. Now he's got Saba. Zord stopped fighting.
I guess we should say, having the Zords fight was great for me because we actually saw some interaction between the two.
Yep.
So for context, Tom, they adapted a Japanese show where the Megas would fight monsters. And then they adapted another season that had different suits in it, but they had this different Megazords. So they basically had to awkwardly chop around footage.
So it's all tailored around that, essentially.
Yeah. But for the first time here, they're actually just shooting footage they need for a scene like a regular TV show would. So they don't have to awkwardly cut around stuff.
Yeah.
So it was cool to just see it play out.
That may mean that with the exception of, like, your standard stock sequences, this episode has no Sentai footage in it at all.
Yeah. For the first time in a while, actually.
Yeah. It's exciting. So Rita and the crew teleport away.
Yep.
Rita's got a new effect on her, like, teleportation, which is, like, drawn-on flames that we saw 2 or 3 weeks ago when she was talking to the space ghost to summon the Wizard of Deception.
Unfortunately, her disappearing effects, like Lord Zed's face appears in front of her,
Yep.
which kind of undercuts her statement about her being equal and or better than Lord Zed.
Yep.
If she's accompanied by his iconography wherever she goes.
The Thunder Megazord sheaths its sword, which does not feel earned this time. Normally it only does that after it cuts a monster in half.
Yeah.
Alright, so on the moon, Lord Zed knew Rita would fail because she's a woman. She points out that Lord
more
Zed,
political commentary.
being a man, has also not beaten them. And Lord Zed's like, yeah, well, no, yeah, okay, that's...
Fair cop.
Yep, that's fine.
The thing is, though, she has a much better point that she doesn't realise here, which is that Lord Zed didn't actually try anything.
No.
He didn't fail. He just said, oh, I'll come up with a plan, and then presumably fell asleep.
Also, Lord Zed is like her boss.
Yeah.
So, he really should be more effective than she is.
Yeah. I don't know if he's brilliant because he managed to trick her into doing all the work this episode.
Ah, right.
Or he's just so stupid that he couldn't come up with a plan.
He says that he was like, yeah, you can't beat them, you're a woman.
Exactly.
And she's like, well, I'm going to beat them and show you that a woman can beat them.
Yeah, and he's like, great, I can take today off. And he puts his feet up and watches like reruns of Cheers or whatever.
He watches Moon Football.
Moon football, Michael?
Moon Football, Matt.
That was the best you had?
I'm sticking with it.
All
Moon
right.
Football.
Moon football.
Moon Football. Alright, so Kim does her campaign speech.
Yes.
It's basically what she says is, you should vote for me because I would be the best at this job.
Yeah.
Without saying why she would be the best at the job.
It did seem like it was the very end of a
Yes.
probably longer speech, although conveniently we got to miss out on all those.
The content?
Yeah. Tommy gets up. It's his turn for his speech. Matt, what does he do? It's surprising, I guess.
Oh, shocking. He basically goes, I'm actually not the best person for the job. Kimberly is. You should all vote for her. Or bulk. It's up to you.
He doesn't step down. He doesn't say, like, I'm no longer in the running.
But they talk about it like that's what he did.
Yeah.
That's basically what he did.
I mean, certainly if you got to, like, a presidential election and one of the candidates said, no, actually, you should vote for the other guy, it's basically stepping down.
Although there's some people that would still vote
No,
for that
absolutely.
person. Like in the States, I think it was Rick Perry pulled out of the race. And his super PAC that was like raising money for him
Yep.
tweeted, oh, it's never the end and we'll keep fighting the good fight, and he's still spending money on advertising. Despite the
Really?
fact that he has pulled out of the race and will not be on the ballot.
So he cannot be the president because he's made the decision that he does not want to do that.
That's right.
And someone is still producing ads saying, you should vote for him as the president.
More than producing ads, paying for the airtime.
That's insane.
It is insane. That's because a lot of them are insane.
I'm happy to endorse that as official Ranger Danger statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wish that there had been, like, one candidate who wasn't someone we see all the time.
I don't, because I'd feel really bad that they were just gamed terribly by Tommy and Kimberly. You know?
Also, look, Kimberly's going to win. It's not going to surprise anyone. When is she going to find time to do, like, another extracurricular activity?
Well, she doesn't have to do a lot when she's in the Megazord. Like, it's really a one-person job. She's probably back there doing
Working on paperwork and
She's
stuff.
just flicking on her phone.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no. What year
No,
are we?
1994. She
She is. It's just a rotary dial phone.
she may have a pager.
Yeah. She's really hip and on trend.
Yeah. It's just, she's very busy. On top of being a Power Ranger, she's an incredibly successful gymnast. She plays the guitar. Presumably at some point they're going to have to do, like, final exams. They've been at high school for a long time.
But she doesn't actually have to do anything because it's fucking student council, Michael.
She
She'll
can't...
have to turn up.
That was the whole point in the first place. Is
Yeah.
that they never actually have to do anything.
It's a perfect job.
It's a title. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. We don't know what the situation is like in Angel Grove. So, Skull comes out in an American-themed one-piece band.
Yes.
Announcing that Bulk is about to come out. Bulk is dressed like Uncle Sam.
I love that of the three of them, he's probably the best at theatricality
Yep.
and
He's definitely the most into it.
Yeah, and most branded.
Yeah.
You know? Like, he went all out.
I mean, if it weren't for the fact that he's a terrible, incompetent mess,
Yeah.
he should have won.
I think so, too.
He
Absolutely.
cares the most.
Yeah. And he has, like, he's running on an issue.
Yeah.
It's a strange issue.
It's a strange issue that he actually can't fix.
Yeah. But it's more than the other two.
Yeah.
Like, he's identified a problem, which is that there's these incredibly powerful vigilantes that are running around without supervision or oversight, and he's trying to fix that problem. Like, that's something that people should get behind.
Yeah. I wouldn't vote for him.
Oh, God,
but
no.
but I'd support him running.
Yeah.
So, Bulk tries to make a speech.
Yes.
Skull's crashing around in the background. Nice little bit of physical comedy. He knocks some stuff over. He knocks Kaplan and Bulk off the podium.
Several times. Kaplan especially gets bumped around like he's in a tornado.
Yep. So he gets the results. They're handed to him in an envelope that's marked election results.
Yeah, I wish that my school handled student election results like it was the fucking Oscars. He gets up there and he's like, and the winner is, and opens the envelope like he's about to say, George Miller for Fury Road.
I love the thought that he doesn't check it first.
Yeah.
Like, if it is
Right.
Bulk, he's not going to let Bulk be
Definitely
president.
not. He's going to be like, fuck democracy, you're out.
Yeah.
And yet, for all of that sort of like glamour around it, the turnout for that election seemed pretty abysmal to me.
There's maybe a couple dozen people.
Yeah, the nerds.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's probably fair, to be honest. So, I think Tommy says winning and losing isn't important. I don't know how I feel about that message.
Yeah, in an episode about political activism.
Yeah, like, I understand that there are many cases in which winning and losing isn't important, and it is just important to have tried your best.
Yeah.
When you're running for president, you are trying to win.
Yes. And like, if you believe in your cause and it's about social change, winning is actually important.
Yeah. And like, when you're fighting giant monsters to try and save the world, winning is quite important.
Also that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no participation medal for fighting off an alien invasion.
Wouldn't that be great, though? If they lose and Rita takes over, but she gives them all just a smaller trophy?
Yeah.
Like, good job, guys, you tried. Kimberly's the president.
Surprise.
Bulk demands a recount. He got one vote. I like, Kaplan doesn't even bother to recount. He just says, look, you got one. We didn't miscount one. Okay? He realises that if he got one vote and there's two people who were going to vote for him, someone fucked up.
Which is better at math than he usually is.
It really is. Skull really liked Kimberly's speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't sound great. Support your friend, Skull.
I mean, like, there's almost a nice message there in that it's not a popularity contest.
Yeah, don't just vote for your friends.
Vote on the issues, except that it is exactly a popularity contest, as this episode attests to.
Yeah, I mean, it's presented as Skull didn't vote for Bulk because he's an idiot,
Yeah.
not because he made a sensible decision.
And because all of the campaigning that goes on is, you'll vote for me, right? Because we're buddies. And I'm the best man for the job. It's not issue-based.
No. Tommy gives Kimberly a rose. It's sweet,
I don't
guess.
know if that might accidentally send her evil again. Who knows with these roses, man?
The rose means she's safe from elimination this week, right?
Oh, that's right.
That's how that works?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or is it the other way around? I don't know.
I've never actually seen an episode of The Bachelor. Tom, can you help us out?
I do know that it means that they're safe.
Okay,
But
there we
I
go. That's
will
all we
say on the record that I have not watched an episode of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette.
That's fine. In this room, you're the resident Bachelor expert now.
Yeah. Because you're
know how I feel
sure
about
about
that.
the roses. We were vague about the roses.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Mm.
That was a weird one. I mean,
We say that a lot.
they kind of all are weird ones.
Yeah.
It wasn't as weird as last week. So,
I was totally not expecting to be dropped into like some kind of political or social commentary of any kind. I thought it was sort of just going to be slightly less ambitious.
Neither
And
will
that-
we, if it's any consolation. You know what's funny, Matt? We've talked a lot about, like, standard Power Ranger episodes, but for all that we've talked about that, there's not many of them.
there was a stretch for quite a while. There was two, actually, that were each about 20 episodes long.
Yeah.
Where we did just get standard Power Ranger episodes.
Yeah.
And it was terrible. It was brutal to every week. It's like, okay, Kimberly talked about lipstick. Here's a giant lipstick monster, cut it down.
Matt, you need to stop talking shit about lip syncer.
Yeah, lip sync was pretty good. Like, ignore the specific
Okay,
example,
sure.
but- yeah. But yeah, lately, it has been bad, but insane.
Yeah.
And I will always take that over okay and boring.
Last week, Tom, there was an evil clone of the White Ranger who used the Green Ranger powers. And at the end of the episode, he went back to, like, the 1700s and decided to live out the rest of his life there.
The clone did.
Yeah. And no one questioned it. Yep.
I have no response.
No. That's what this show is.
Like, officially in canon, there's a copy of Tommy, the White Ranger, who now just lives in that time, in perpetuity. And we never find out what happened to him.
Yeah.
I'm still speechless. I'm still...
No, I think...
It's just arbitrary. It's sort of
Yeah.
weird, like, we need to do something with this character that we've just created but now need to remove. Let's do something interesting with that, and interesting being...
Send it back in time. Yeah. I love, too, that obviously this is a show that they're aiming to put on whenever. Kids can drop in, drop out. Every episode's the same. But, like, I would have felt like Tommy would have been a little shaken up by the events of last week.
Yeah.
Like, there was an evil clone of him that he had to fight.
And then it got good, and then it decided to leave and live in the past.
I definitely have taken, like, a couple days off.
I would have taken a day to go to the library and be like, I wonder what age he lived to. That version of me that has all of my memories and experiences.
Yeah.
I wonder if he died of some ancient disease that they couldn't cure.
Because, you know, if he lives to, like, 80,
Yeah.
you're going to live to, like, 200, because you live in the future.
Yeah, but no, none of that.
You know?
Student elections.
Like, what if he got, like, throat cancer? Tommy could know that he's vulnerable to... he did not exploit that situation as well as he could have.
So does that mean, though, from episodes from now on, we'll never hear about Kimberly being president or anything like that?
I
Definitely
would be
not.
willing to bet $100. It may be once. Maybe it'll come up once.
Yeah.
But, I mean, certainly the next two episodes aren't called, like, Kimberly faces pressure from the administration.
Yeah. The vested interests of the Mineral Council.
Watergate.
So that's the end of the episode. There's no new monster to put on the creature feature.
Yeah,
The
normally-
monster this week is jealousy.
That's true. Should we put jealousy on our rank of monsters?
No, because here's the problem. If we put jealousy on the creature feature,
Yeah.
when we come back to it 6 months from now, we won't remember what monster jealousy was.
That's true. We'll think that jealousy was an actual monster called jealousy.
And that's not impossible.
No.
Alright, what did you think, Tom?
Oh, man.
Yep,
Like,
that's the correct response.
where do you even start? I mean, obviously, it wants to try and... There's an active intent to say something about politics or student politics at the very least, or even about being a woman in politics as well, which is
Maybe.
kind of surprising. Which was sort of like, come on, you can be as good or better than the
Yeah.
men who are doing it. But in the strangest ways, and
It's like they have these ideas, but then have no conviction to follow through on
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
It's like their idea of introducing an idea to a story is saying it once in a line and then leaving it.
I mean, I do think part of the problem is, at the end, a giant robot has to punch something.
But like we wrote an episode of the show based on Sentai footage to see if we could do it, and you can do it much better than that. We know
Sure.
from experience.
Yeah. We should do another one of those.
Yeah, we should. That was fun.
does this develop Kimberly as like a character, her taking on this extra responsibility, which seems apparently much bigger than her Power Ranger
I tell
responsibility?
you what, Tom, instead of me answering that question, why don't you guess the answer to that question?
No.
Yeah, good work.
I mean, we don't know for certain, but I feel strongly that I can predict that it's probably not going to influence her character at all,
Yeah.
ever.
Yep.
Because that would require characters to develop, which traditionally has not been the
Which would
case.
require writing.
Yeah. They basically just stay the same until they're kicked off.
I mean, I think this show is perfectly representative of that. It's like, yeah, we could do character work, but that would be hard. Let's just replace it with a magic skipping rope that makes them angry at each other. Like, they don't want to figure out a way that would create a situation where they would have conflict and need to hash something out. They have a magic skipping rope and then solve it with roses.
I know for me that would make it really tricky to really care about the characters for a long period of time, aside from the fact that they're obviously stuck in this weird time loop that just keeps them in one space forever, and you sort of feel a bit sorry for them that they'll never ever progress in any way personally or otherwise.
I think the trick is that the audience that this is designed for sees giant robots and does not require anything else.
No, that's
Like-
plenty.
They see the giant robots that also turn into dragons and shit, and it doesn't really matter what else goes on in the rest. Like,
That's my just watching of it, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if there was a way that they could just have the giant robots fight,
yeah.
they would make that show instead.
It's just that it's expensive.
But I know for certain I still would have had that blue Power Ranger suit and had the Power Ranger birthday party. Which, can I say, no one else came as a Power Ranger. What? I was.
Well, we
very
should have been
unimpressed.
friends when you were a kid, because I would have come as a Power Ranger.
Definitely. Oh, hey, next birthday can be a Power Ranger one. Make sure that you're all there. We can dress up and sit alone.
Story of
Sounds
our
like
lives. All right, I guess we'll end that one there.
Great.
We're next episode 108, Storybook Rangers Part 1.
Another multi-part episode.
Yeah, just 2 this time.
Yeah. Great. Do you know who we'll have on for that one, Michael?
No, I don't.
Great. Mystery.
Da, da, da.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
the mystery
you for
noise.
being on the show, Tom.
Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. Welcome back anytime. We'll probably have someone else from my organisation here
In a couple weeks.
in a couple of weeks, which will be exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll churn through the whole staff in the next sort of year or so.
Willingly or not.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
That's how we get guests for this show.
Yeah. We make them trip over a magical skipping rope that makes them hate the idea of not being on a podcast about Power Rangers. It's very elaborate.
Do you do that?
Yeah, well, how else do you think we get guests, Michael?
just
It's a
been-
podcast about Power Rangers.
I've just been
Think
asking.
it through.
That explains why people have been saying no.
Yeah. There's your issue.
Yeah, I should get a magical rope. All right, we'll be back next week, and we'll see you then.
See you guys.